To now adjourn and give the call to the Chief Government Whip.
Thank you, Speaker, and it's my pleasure to rise following that contribution from the Shadow Minister, the member for Moncrieff. I noticed in her litany of complaints about this government she failed to mention pay rises, particularly in early education and childcare, where she has responsibility, failed to mention tax cuts and failed to mention lower fees for families for early education and childcare, something that is absolutely critical for families in my electorate. And to see the Shadow Minister not mention those things in her litany is disappointing, because during the long months of the pandemic, I, along with colleagues, led by our now Prime Minister as the leader, spent hours planning for the reconstruction post-pandemic. And a key part of the Australia we envisaged was one where wages would reflect the hard work and commitment of our workers. Nowhere was this more important than in the care economy, in aged care and in early education and childcare. These workers were the heroes of the pandemic, working on the front lines to ensure looking after and caring for our youngest and oldest, to support our communities. They showed up so that other essential workers could show up. They deserved more than our thanks, and this week the second part of this puzzle is complete, with early education and childcare educators announcing a 15% pay rise for those workers, 10% this year and 5% next year, on top of 3 increases to the minimum wage and a 15% pay rise for aged care workers in this country, something that I am incredibly proud of. Incredibly proud, too, of the fee-free TAFE that is allowing people to be trained in these sectors. 500,000 Australians have enrolled in fee-free TAFE since its introduction under this government. This means that we can attract, train and retain workforces in our care economy and know that they are being paid and valued by not just by this government but by the community more broadly. And in a community like mine, with some of the highest numbers of 0 to 4-year-olds in the country, this is critical. And just one further point to make in that space. This is good news for the small and family businesses running early education and childcare in my community. Deputy Speaker, on the 3rd of August at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre, we saw the Suncorp Super Netball Grand Final. Adelaide Thunderbirds and the Melbourne Vixens put on a netball showcase, a grand final for the ages. A raucous Adelaide home crowd brought home a victorious Thunderbirds by 2 goals after an incredibly close and skillful display from both teams. The ball movement on display was scintillating, the shooting incredibly accurate, and the defensive strategies, deflections and intercepts saw the crowd on their feet in appreciation. I want to congratulate both teams, to victorious coach Tanya Obst and captain Hannah Petty of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, an incredible season and back-to-back flags. Congratulations. To Vixen coaches Simone McInnes and Di Honey and captain Kate Maloney, thank you for an amazingly successful season despite injury challenges along the way. An extraordinary achievement in that grand final. You really brought the game to the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Sad that as a Victorian we didn't win, but netball was the winner. Our sport is ultimately the winner after that grand final. And to watch the traditional rivalry between Victoria and South Australia played out on the netball court was a wonderful experience that I know was shared with families across the country as they tuned in. We had a wonderful Suncorp Super Netball season in 2024. All the thrills and all the spills of great netball, the best league in the world, brought together by the best Australia has to offer, joined by international competitors from across the globe. It's an extraordinary league, and they put on quite a show week in, week out. But that grand final was something to see. Secretly, I think Simone McInnes may have found the way the Diamonds will continue to have the edge over the Jamaicans in that match. I hope so. I want to wish all of those selected for the Diamonds tryouts for the squad good luck in their preparations. And, of course, we'll be seeing the Diamonds on court in New Zealand and Australia before this year is out. Thank you, Speaker.